It's an interesting county. It's not that large. It's a medium-sized shire county here in England. But the interesting thing about it is it has a number of sensitive and high-profile risks within the area, one of which, of course, is Windsor Castle, which featured in a fire in 1992. We have the atomic weapons establishments at Burfield and Aldermaston, and a number of other industrial and sensitive risks. It's a brigade that's made up of some 450 whole-time and 160 part-time or retained firefighters. And on top of that, we have around about 100 non-uniform staff. The risks range from very rural, what we call D-risk areas, right up to B-risk urban conurbations. The Windsor Castle fire, I think, was one of those incidents which you plan for many years, but you honestly never believe it's going to happen. It was unfortunate that the fire occurred in a very vulnerable area in the castle from where it could spread in virtually all directions very rapidly, and it did. It meant that we had to deploy manpower and equipment very quickly onto the scene and make some very rapid tactical decisions if we were going to stop it from spreading throughout the castle. And castles don't have a very good track record in fire. We were very lucky, we were very successful in our tactics. We used in excess of 200 uniformed personnel on site at the height of the incident. We had 36 pumping appliances and 7 specialist vehicles, including 3 aerial vehicles. We used massive amounts of breathing apparatus, and we had 31 jets in use and 3 monitors from the aerial appliances. We reckon we put around about 1 million gallons of water on the castle fire itself. It was a tremendous success story, though, not just in terms of firefighting, but also in terms of salvage, for instance. It's little known that only one item of the contents was totally destroyed, and that was one painting. There are obviously parts of the structure that were destroyed, but everything else was taken out. Some damage, but repairable. The effects on the brigade, well, we had a strategy plan to deal with Windsor Castle, but the fire itself outstripped that plan within around about an hour to an hour and a half. And in many respects, we were thinking on our feet. We've now had the ability to look back at those areas that the sheer logistics of what we had to perform with that number of people and in such a high-profile building, and it has enabled us now to update our plans to take account of all those areas that before we probably hadn't even imagined we would have to do. And we've been able to do that with no loss of life and with a success story. So we're very pleased with the outcome of that incident.
We are responsible for all the emergency calls that originate in the county of Berkshire and small area around it. Berkshire County, 474 square miles, population of approximately 850,000 people. We have 20 fire stations, 10 of which are full-time manned, 10 of which are retained manned. The map behind me shows the disposition of our fire stations. We have a motorway goes right the way through the county of about 35 miles, which is the M4, very busy motorway. We have major through roads that go through the county, as well as 2 very busy railways. Kept very busy. Control room will deal with approximately 12,000 incidents a year, approximately 20,000 calls a year.
This is the rescue support vehicle, which is to give backup response on all rescue situations within the brigade, particularly on the roadways in Berkshire. This carries Lucas hydraulic cutting equipment of high pressure, low pressure airbags, chainsaws, angle grinders and cutting equipment. At present there is only one of these vehicles on a Mercedes chassis, but there is another rescue support vehicle up the other end of the county at Slough, which is on a Chevrolet chassis.
Primarily, Fire Alpha was introduced for fighting fires involving other vessels on the River Thames. It's also rendered useful in situations known as special service calls. This may cover incidents where boats are floundering or possibility of sinking. Fire Alpha would then be called upon with its crew of 5 to assist in any way we possibly can to prevent boats sinking. We have a vast network of open water stretches ranging from the River Thames to River Loddon. Also areas of gravel excavation, which are now vast open water areas known as gravel pits. We can be called upon at any time to enter these areas for work within those areas. We also cover the reservoirs around the London Airport area, known as the Queen Mother's Reservoir. These were primarily designed also for aircraft that may be in trouble to ditch into the reservoirs, and then along with the London Airport Fire Brigade, we would assist in rendering any action that we possibly could.
This is the Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service Training Centre, and here we have modern instructional facilities and lecture rooms where we can do training for our own uniformed and non-uniformed personnel, but we also have an industrial unit as part of the training centre, and they will train outside bodies here alongside the uniformed staff. We've now got a facility for hot fire training, but the building we've created is actually multi-function. It's a £600,000 building, and it will give us realistic hot fire training for our own personnel and for outside bodies where applicable. But it also incorporates a sewer pipe system, a collapsed building system, and various levels on the outside, so we can do varying types of realistic fire training, not just hot fire training. We've got an industrial course from Mars Limited, and they're doing basic fire brigade techniques using hose and other basic fire brigade.
The Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service maintains an extensive shops facility for the brigade at their headquarters in Reading. This facility is equipped to perform routine maintenance and to effect major mechanical repairs on all of their appliances.
Within Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service, we have a Veteran Society, which I am chairman. We look after 4 appliances. We look after the youngest one we've got is the F12 behind us. We have a Dennis 1936 open appliance with also a 50-foot wheeled escape. We have a 1936 Dennis Cub limousine, which was the first gas-tight appliance in Britain. And we also look after an 1895 horse-drawn steamer. The machine we have behind us is a 1950 Dennis F12, 1,000 gallons a minute pump, midships pump, a 50-foot wooden wheeled escape with 2 hook ladders and 1 short extension ladder. This drill was a escape drill. The idea of it was to remove the escape from the appliance as quickly as possible, manhandling it with 1 person on each wheel, manoeuvre it to the base of the tower, and extend it to the 4th floor. Here at D Road Fire Station, we ride with 7 on a watch. sub-officer in charge, a leading fireman and 5 firefighters. Within Station 3 is mainly residential with a small amount of industrial on our station ground. We cover a lot of Reading, main centre of the old part of Reading, but second attendance. We're not first attendance into the main part of Reading. We have approximately 1,500 calls a year, which range from small fires, large fires, road traffic accidents, general run-of-the-mill. The appliance we've got behind us is a Dennis, 2,250 litres a minute pump at the rear, a 13.5 metre ladder, a roof ladder and a short extension ladder. We also carry a light portable pump, Lucas cutting equipment and other general firefighting equipment.
I have what I believe to be one of the most highly professional and committed teams backing me up that there could be in any of the UK fire brigades, but you'd expect me to say that. They're good people to work with, they care about the community, and they are desperate to make sure that they give the public as good a service as we can possibly do. Here in Berkshire, we're very committed to devolved management, and particularly on the budget side, and officers at fairly low levels have responsibility for making decisions, not only in terms of management, but also in terms of spending money. And that's paid tremendous dividends because we really believe that people at the lower scale, who are very close to the people they serve, actually know the best way to provide the service. And if we can give them some money to be able to achieve that within national constraints, then we're going to give the public the very best of service. And certainly the last 4 years that since we've adopted that philosophy, I've got reason to believe and evidence to prove that that's actually working. It also means that there's a purpose in the job, not just the purpose that every firefighter has of serving the public, but a knowledge that they are a very integral part of the organisation. They're part of the thinking section of the organisation. They have an impact of what goes on. And I find it so refreshing to go and talk to firefighters on the station now, because their level of conversation is far, far higher than certainly mine was when I was a firefighter, because they really understand how a fire brigade like ours works, and they feel part of it, and they feel able to influence to a certain extent what we do. And that's the sort of people we've got here, very committed, very professional individuals, as you'd expect to find anywhere in the world in fire service terms. But I happen to think here in Berkshire, because of our culture, we've probably gone a little bit further than most.